Okay, welcome back to the 2020 APTA National Championships presented by our local sponsor BTIG and the APTA National sponsors Uline and Viking. We're live from the Country Club of Darien in Darien, Connecticut on the APTA Network presented by eNet Live. And we're about to bring you the finals of the inaugural PTI National Championship. So we're going to have a special guest performance in a minute. We're going to introduce our players on the court first. So we're looking at the back. The left-hander in the gray is Andre Ivarsson and his partner Ricky Sanford wearing shorts. On the far side of the court in the black hat is David Goldberg, and his partner with the black jacket and blue pants is Miguel Cobbs. But first I'd like to introduce to the booth the Paddle Hacks guys. Matt, Ben, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's fantastic to be here. We really appreciate you having us on and giving our little podcast some credibility. This is a big moment for us.
Well, it's a little bit awkward. I'm used to being interviewed by you, and now I got to interview you. So I got to put on a different hat.
Yeah, the tables have turned. Are we still allowed to just come up with different fish nicknames as we go through this? Tuna? Is that cool?
Well, before we get to the fish nicknames, and I've heard a lot of those, tell me a little bit about your experience this weekend in the PTI tournament.
It was fantastic. I would say the paddle was really fun. Even more entertaining than that was kind of the culture that went around the tournament. Our opponents reached out to us before it even began. Said, hey, we saw the draw. We're playing you guys in the first round. Let's go to dinner and hang out. I mean,
that's awesome.
It was a really incredible experience. You know, I don't know how often these guys are, setting up dinners with each other before the tournament starts. I'm sure it's plenty. They all know each other, but coming in blind with a lot of local teams, it was fantastic.
Ben, any thoughts? Talk to me about the quality of the tournament.
I got to say, I think the quality was higher than I thought it was going to be coming in. It was strong right off the bat. It was a full 64 draw, and it was really strong. It was a bunch of Connecticut and Massachusetts guys mainly, and I think a couple of us from a few teams from Chicago.
And you guys, your club's Series 2, Series 3 in Chicago?
We both play Series 1.
Series 1, okay.
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah, especially having seen you play, it's just hard to believe.
Right? Yeah, we kind of bottom of the rung, Girani just brings me on for comic relief.
Tell me more about the tournament. Tell me more about your experiences.
We had a little bit of rain, unfortunately, on our first night. We had a couple of matches in which the skid ball was a bit of a factor, and everybody handled it like champs. Nobody got super frustrated. The clubs were nice and welcoming. There was great hut commanding, where everybody knew what was going on and passing out the appropriate number of balls after paying our sign-up fee. We always appreciate that, the right number of balls. And then ultimately, I really felt that it was well run. I mean, we might have waited for a court one time for 45 minutes. That was about it. I mean, it was incredible to see that, especially because with the long matches going on in the main draw, obviously stuff can get backed up quick. But well-run tournament. You've done a great job.
Well, we don't have to talk about that. Tell me about the teams you played, who you beat, who you lost to.
We lost to Garmy and Pierce in the second round, and they played great. They would solidly play, court 3 and 4 in Series 1 paddle in Chicago, and took us by surprise with a little righty-lefty combo. It was a blast. And then we ran through a couple of teams that we obviously hadn't met before, and off the top of my head, with us doing the podcast and throwing so many names out there, I'm not going to be able to remember them.
Well, you can throw any names out, and I'll believe you.
Yeah, no, they were good. Everyone was really nice.
Durant and Parsons were a tough team.
They were, yeah.
They did the PTI and this.
But there was a lot of intensity in the matches, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a regular tournament, just like you'd expect anywhere else.
Completely. You get 4 guys on a court together, and everyone gets competitive. Everyone's friendly after the match, but during it's competitive, and yeah, very.
Okay, what's next for Paddle Hacks?
What is next? We're going to go home and edit kind of all the interviews. I say we. Matt does all the editing. But, we're going to edit everything we've done here at Nationals these last 4 or 5 days. And then I think we're going to be out there a little bit for Team Nationals. Right?
Awesome.
That's the plan.
We are very excited.
So tell
Very
me
excited
about your
about Team
participation in
Nationals.
Team Nationals.
Yeah, so they're in the process of hunting for teams now, obviously with the leagues around the country wrapping up and, designating captains for that and putting groups together. It's going to be in Chicago at Exmoor Country Club, which is probably the sports bar of the paddle world. They stream their own courts on the big TVs instead of other sports, so that's pretty awesome to see, and we couldn't be happier that they've asked us to help out. So we're going to be there all weekend and put together some content. It's going to be a lot of fun. Although it's going to be Ben by himself, this really was the pinnacle of my existence. I started the whole thing to get on the live stream, sit next to you.
Successfully, I might add.
Yeah, I'm done. So,
well, guys, thank you very much. Drop the mic moment, and it was great having you. And I'm a big fan of the show, and looking forward to some more episodes going forward.
Well, good luck. Thanks for having us.
Okay, we're going to be back with the PTI final after these messages on the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live.
You can't put wings on a car. You can't see an accident coming. Or walk away from one like this. You can't make a car talk.
How can I help you?
You can't fight gravity. And you can't make one of the world's best SUVs even better. Go on, tell us what else we can't do. The all-new GLS.
Are you ready to go?
Possibly the safest, most spacious, most Mercedes SUV ever made. Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Okay, welcome back to the 2020 APTA Nationals. We're about to start the finals of the PTI tournament, the inaugural first ever PTI tournament. And I am joined by my league partner and close friend, Matt Garavaglia. Matty, why don't we talk a little about the players? Obviously, we both know Miguel Cobbs pretty well. He played it out of our club for a number of years.
Yes.
But why don't you talk? I've introduced the players. Why don't you talk about their relative strengths and weaknesses?
So I'm very excited about this. I got asked, why did I not play? And then I said, I'd rather sit next to fish all weekend than play. But no, this is our style paddle. This is what the club players really need. It is. It's going to be high intensity, great paddle, a lot of fun. I mean, and it's going to be great. Miguel Cobbs, he's got so much talent. His partner, David Goldberg, is the one I don't know. I haven't, they're young. We're on the old side, so he hasn't been around as much. I've played Ricky Sanford. You're not going to find a nicer guy, as well as a guy who really understands the game. He knows stats. He watches people. He really, he's a great coach. And Mr. Ivarsson, he's got a lot of talent. You don't see him much because some of these guys, they're teaching, and so they don't have the ability to get out and play tournaments. They play in leagues, and then they go after the leagues. They get out there and have a couple local tournaments. They don't travel, and then they come in. They're excited to play, and they're playing for a national title, which is really amazing.
Yeah, it harkens back to the days of the B Nationals. This is a much stronger and completely different tournament, so I don't want to compare them.
No.
But you know who won the first B Nationals?
I heard it. This guy, he's okay. Was it Lubau?
Steve
that's
DeRose.
right.
I remember Michael Stern coming back telling about this guy who played in B Nationals, and he had the best hands of any player he'd ever seen. And I was like, best hands ever? Really? So that's DeRose's one national championship.
It's amazing because this is the level. I mean, we all get to watch if you want to call them the big dogs all the time, and it's great. They are above and beyond talented, and these guys are immensely talented too, and it's going to be fun to watch, to see these guys play, because it's also going to be great because all four of these players said they never got to see themselves play, so that after the match, they get to learn. We were talking to some of the young kids that been playing, and they love being live streamed because they get to learn about not just, about the game, but they get to see what they're doing after they're done.
Yeah, and now we're going to get to see what they've learned and how good they are.
It'll be great.
Okay, so it looks like they're doing their final prep, and we should be getting started momentarily. You know, Miguel Cobbs has always been such a super talent. Ball just explodes off his paddle, a lot of spin on it, and like a lot of talented players, the issue with Miguel was always shot selection and when to hit what balls.
Yeah, he's taken his big step the last few years. I mean, I think that you're right. He's got the talent. He can hit the ball from any spot, anywhere. It's just learning that when we get away with it because you hit winners against, lower level players at certain times, and in big tournaments, when to dial it back. And it's taken some time, but he's getting there, and he's proved it today. Proved it so far to getting here to the finals of this PTI Nationals.
Okay, well, it looks like Cobbs is going to serve first, and he's got a big spin serve. It'll be interesting to see where Andre Ivarsson lines up for it. It will be a little less effective against a lefty. Little pre-match conversation. Now, you played a season with Miguel in the league?
I played a season with Miguel when I first came out to Long Island. It was fun. He got to learn a lot, he said, from me, which is hilarious since I can't play this game. But he is, he's got the talent, and he's just putting it together, and it's fun watching. That's a great thing about this game is it's not like, it takes 5-6 years of playing at good levels to get there.
Okay, so this is Cobb serving, and that's Ricky Sanford and the backhand side, and his partner Andre Ivarsson in the deuce court, the left-hander. Gil's got a real good roller, too. Sanford played on some of the famous Greenberg teams in the Westchester League that completely dominated the Westchester League when the pros were allowed in.
Love 30.
Yeah, I've played him a couple times. Such a nice guy, and as I said, after we would talk after the matches, and he'd ask me some questions about different things. And
15,
great
30.
student of this game.
Interesting to see Ivarsson line up to hit the backhand, not the forehand return, as a left-hander.
As you said, and Miguel's got a lot of spin on that ball, so it's tough, that when it's hitting away if we're not used to seeing that. Good get there. One of the things,
40, 30.
as you said, this is, it is a national finals. They understand that, and, it's going to be, the first time on live stream, for a lot of people, it is a difference, of how they come out. Are there nerves? Are there, what's going on? And, hopefully for these guys, it's just another Sunday in the park playing paddle.
In front of 500 people.
Huh.
Cobbs can drive both the backhand and the forehand. And there he misreads the nick.
Deuce.
Yeah, no, that serve's called out.
Yep, that's long.
Advantage Ivarsson.
The other thing
Sanford.
is, when was the last time you think you guys had an umpire?
If ever. So Broderick Palmer at 5-all in the second set with Burris Doya after being up 4-2. Yeah, I don't think Ivarson's hitting that backhand off the deck from the Cobbs serve is a winning strategy.
I think it's more of taking Miguel Cobb's serve, and taking it, because he's used to letting people let it go to the screen and kind of, somewhat moseying
Game
in. But
Ivarsson, Sanford. They lead one game to
there's
love.
that roller you
First
said.
set.
The one thing about it is, he's got to learn to pick his spots and where to hit it instead of just, always aiming for that nick.
A little nerves early.
Mm-hmm.
A few faults from Cobb's normally reliable serve. Okay, so Ricky Sanford to serve to David Goldberg. Taking one serve. Looks like they're starting out in the I formation. There's that big Cobbs backhand. He is so dangerous off the deck.
As they say, we've had the privilege of playing with Miguel Cobbs a lot, and as you know, Mark, you and I said a couple times that off the deck, if he's in control, there's not many better that can hit it cleaner
Buck 15.
when he's in that control in that zone.
I remember one year they were playing Bredberg and Wilkinson, and Miguel hit a forehand so hard it went off of George Wilkinson's stomach back into the court.
Miguel, that go under the net? Thank you. 15 all.
Burish Doya break, 4 consecutive points, and they'll serve for the second set. That could be going for a while.
I know the way they have because of this PTI, and the women are at 1 and the men are at 3,
15,
but
30.
yeah, that third set over there could probably take, if it gets there, it could take another hour, 2.
Yeah.
30 all.
Nice little.
Good ball there.
30, 40.
Chance to get right back on serve. Good communication there.
I like the pace they're doing too, because they're not trying. I mean, they're making some mistakes, but they're getting their feet underneath them, getting ready, And as you said, Mark, the communication on both sides were very, very good. A little nerves when they're hitting
Sanford.
some of the shots, but they're feeling their way into this match.
And there's that big Cobbs forehand.
You're talking about with the hacks about their experience, and I've been here for 3 days now and nonstop talking to people in all the draws, and you're saying that they've really liked the experience of playing players that in all are good matches. There's not like it's it's a national tournament, so it's not like it's they're going out there and you're playing great, fun matches, and they feel they can be competitive, and that, for some people, that's all they're totally looking for is a great competitive match, not to sit there and say, hey, I've played the
Cobbs,
best in the world.
Goldberg.
That doesn't matter to most of the players out here.
Burish Doya with a set point out there.
Hughes.
Good serve by
Advantage,
Ricky
Ivarsson,
Sanford.
Sanford.
Good hands.
Couple of set points saved in the next court from Broderick Palmer. And there's Miguel's
There's that
backhand.
backhand.
Boy, he's got a lot of weapons, doesn't he?
He's hitting it so well. It's confidence. Gets caught.
Game Ivarsson, Sanford, they lead 2 games to love.
So we played
First
2
set.
games. Both teams have a bunch of game points. Both are won by Ivarsson Sanford. Another set point on the next court for Burrish or Doya. Good court coverage from Goldberg. Another set point saved by Broderick Palmer. A couple of big backhands from Broderick.
Love 15.
Right now it seems like Ivarsson Sanford are settling down faster.
Yeah, it looks like Goldberg here, he's hit a couple, a little tentative on certain shots. He's not finishing his swing as, well as he was yesterday when I was
30.
watching him play. Again, atmosphere is so different than any other match they've ever played in.
Another set point for Broderick Palmer over there. There's a big Rick from Sanford. Good volley from Cobbs.
Good move, good hands.
Game in second set. Burrish or Doya.
15, 30.
So 2.5 hours in, they're going 3. I think it's really important that Cobbs and Goldberg find their footing, play a good, solid game.
Yeah, they need to get him on the board. That does
30 all.
take pressure off you a little bit. Getting on the board. You don't want to feel that, like, what do I have to do to win a game? Not a point, but to win a game. And sometimes that's, especially
Football.
early.
Footfall called by chair umpire Mark Bliss.
30, 40.
Marshall Chapin and his whole squad have done just a wonderful job this weekend. He, Bill Horn, Bliss, the rest of them. Just great effort. The players are so appreciative. Well, sometimes they're appreciative and sometimes they're whiny little babies.
Nah. I got asked years ago, would you want to umpire? I'm like, I can't call my own ball out. I can't call somebody else's out.
You never call the ball out.
Advantage, Cobbs, Goldberg.
But it is, and for some of these players, as you said, they don't know where they stand on the court. They've never been called a foot fault, and so it is a difference, and it does make it makes a difference. If you're the person that think you don't foot fault, and somebody else tells you serve different too.
Great hip volley there from Cobbs.
Good luck.
So is Cobbs the best player in the family, or is his wife Kelly Brown Cobbs the better player?
Well, Kelly, I think, is definitely, the smarter player. But, the one thing with Miguel is that they said he's got so much talent. But Kelly's playing great. She's I have the fortunate enough that she helps me out. She's a phenomenal teacher, great player, and she has 5 kids at home, 4 at home, 1 on this court right now. But it's she does a great job, and she's really helped
Advantage,
Miguel.
Ivarsson,
I know
Sanford.
her and Miguel, talk a lot about the platform game, and she's Miguel even gives her a lot of credit about helping her get into the mental mood of the grind of playing these tournaments, because the one thing we know a lot of club players that are good players, but to play in the tournaments and to have the mental grind to play 3 to 5 matches in the day, or for this tournament it's been 3 days of playing platform. It's a lot.
So you watch Ivarsson. He's holding the paddle in his left hand, but he really plays like a righty. Clearly prefers the backhand to the forehand. And you've seen a couple of dangerous down-up of overheads from Goldberg and Cobbs that he's taken advantage of. He's baiting him to hit that shot.
Yeah, the one thing we'll see is if especially with Goldberg and Cobbs, is if they can play that, if you want to call it the counter punch game where they hit 20 balls up the
Advantage,
middle,
Ivarsson,
wait for
Sanford.
their opportunity, and not go for too much or too early.
That's a great roller from Miguel, right at the body, forces the error.
Deuce. Foot fault.
Another foot fault called on Goldberg.
You can see he
Advantage,
starts back.
Ivarsson,
He's
Sanford.
conscious of it, but he just really moves that right foot way forward.
Just doesn't start far enough back. So 3 games, all of which
Ivarsson,
Cobbs
Sanford.
Goldberg have
They
3
lead 3
game
games to
points,
love
and they
first
failed to
set.
convert any of them.
And that's the thing, if they can convert one of those. I mean, I know the score would be just 2-1, but if they convert one of them, they can get a little bit of relaxation and get swinging through that ball. Getting that first game is going to be very important.
Okay, first game of the third set to Broderick Palmer. Andre Ivarsson to serve.
Also fun, you're seeing all the fans here, and we're talking about the fans here. We know that the women's final is going to be just loaded of people because of the 4 talented ladies that all live here in Connecticut playing each other. But you have a lot of people here just watching these guys, the PTI finals. They're watching them. They're bringing in people that know them, and and it's got to be a blast just to be out there.
Fault by Ivarsson to start the game. Good variety in the overheads. Sanford hits the drop shot on the wrong side.
Love 30.
I like their court positioning. He's standing up there. He's taking everything away.
3 unforced errors. Chance for Cobbs Goldberg to get on the board. Oh, we almost saw our Miguel Cobbs from Miguel Cobbs.
15-40.
If you might have heard that once or twice, the good swing, but after the screen, he normally gets that ball back.
30,
He's the best in the country at that, no question. But they need this point, Matty. They can't afford to let this game get away. It's going to be hard to come back and win this set.
Good roller. that's a smart play with Miguel where Cobbs were. In years past, it was a definite drive, and Ivarsson was standing there.
Another missed lob.
Seems to me
Advantage,
that Goldberg
Ivarsson,
is,
Sanford.
tight with that forehand, and as I said, haven't seen him play as much, and when he's tight with the forehand, and it makes it tough because you have a lefty over there that can expose you more than two righties.
Oh, there's that big drive off the deck from Cobbs. Good recovery. Miguel's so fast. See, that's a ball you could see he was tight. He didn't release the paddle head and really come through it.
He's got a, Drew Broderick's, slice spike or hit it. You can't push,
It's 4-love. You see Ivarson's taking 2 steps to the other side of the court, returning serve. It's actually on the ad side.
Mark, you've seen a lot of this sport this weekend of the first set kind of getting away from somebody, but then if they don't, it's 2 out of 3, and we all know that, we've seen a 6-0 maybe in one set, and then the next thing you know, they're down in the second, the other team that won, and it's, a comeback. But hopefully for Miguel, Cobbs, and Goldberg, they can right the ship. They need as you said, they need to learn to win one of these points at game point to get on that board.
Well, I don't think it's important that they come back and win the set, as
Right.
you pointed out, but they've got to start playing better and see some positive things and develop some positive energy.
Correct. Getting free points helps.
15-love.
Helps a lot.
Good serve, great, stab volley there.
15-all. Oh, my apologies.
I know it
40
sounds
love.
weird, but this is the point they won.
40-love, second consecutive game. They're up 40-love. Just have to close this one out.
Yeah, as I said, this is the point they want to win. Now, they don't want to go 40-15.
And there it is.
Game Cobbs.
They're
Goldberg.
on the board.
Ivarsson, Sanford. Yeah. Lead 4-1, first set.
So, Mark, you said there's a 64-team draw of the first ever PTI Nationals. I wasn't privileged to know. Is there, a lot of teams? Do you think you could make it bigger if wanted to?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of courts. I mean, we closed the draw. First time we ever had one. I think in coming years it will be bigger, especially as people find out what a tremendous event it is.
Yes. And what's is awesome, and I'm a big, component of, getting these, men and women to be able to play in these tournaments with, a lot of, one of the best things about platform tennis is not just the actual game. It is the people. And when you're playing with a lot of people in your level-ish, if you want to call it, you're going to find a lot of, new and fun friends. I've got some of my best friends in the world are from this sport, and it's been fun. Excited that we're next weekend they have the 45 nationals, and in the 60 nationals, and it's fun to watch that you get these draws filled with, and most of them know it's that's their weekend out to play, have fun, see your friends, get out,
15.
and be competitive.
Yeah, there Cobbs changes direction on the ball, misses it. 15 love. Roderick Palmer out to a 2-love lead in the final set over there. Long sentence. I don't know. It's out by a
30
lot.
love.
Still haven't seen Goldberg really hit that forehand. A lot of balls
40
he's
love.
kind of guiding. 40 love. Boy, Cobbs just so many weapons. That ball jumps off Ivarson's paddle. Short swing on the forehand, and boom. That's a good ball. Caught Cobbs off the
Game,
net.
Ivarsson, Sanford.
But that's the one, the two
They
alls
lead
I
5
know. He
games to
caught him
1
off the
first
net,
set.
but it looked like McCobbs is, trying to force. Those are the volleys that you just want to just be smart, deep middle. Don't go for too much, and sometimes I think especially if you're down, you feel like you need to do something.
Yeah, there, Ivarsson a little
15 love.
over-aggressive coming forward. Big return there from Sanford. Just a few too many loose
15
points.
all.
That's been the difference between these teams.
Yeah, I think if you notice, it's the Cobbs Goldberg team. They've a little tight, as you said, on Goldberg's forehand, but then they're trying to force their lobs instead of just relaxing. It's not
15,
like
30.
Ivarsson and Sanford are putting so much pressure on them. They're just they're playing the game and waiting for the opportunity.
Well, the score's 5-1, but the match is really separated by just a couple of points. Great play by Ivarsson there. Sanford misses it wide.
30 all.
Well, that ball was way in. I think Goldberg was hoping it would be out. Couldn't really think it was.
It's a good lead, though. I mean, that's one of the things. He left it and then get back in the point and play.
Too much change of direction at the net.
40, 30.
Point for 5-2. Another fault from Goldberg.
Deuce. Advantage, Cobbs, Goldberg.
And these are the points they've been unable to convert.
You don't think about it, early in the match sometimes, but if you've got a lot of game points and you don't convert them, they come back later in the match because then you think about it.
Game, Cobbs,
But that's
Goldberg,
a big hold there because
Ivarsson,
the last
Sanford.
time they had Ivarsson serve
Lead
down at love
5
40.
games to 2.
So they can somehow sneak,
set.
a couple
New
of
ball.
early points on Iverson's serve, get right back, get back in it, and let's have some fun and get back into this set.
Well, they're finding their footing, which is good to see.
Yes.
Okay, so just to reintroduce our players, the people joining us late. This is Andre Ivarsson in the black shirt about to serve. His partner Ricky Sanford at the net in the blue hoodie. David Goldberg in the gray shirt in the backcourt, and his partner Miguel Cobbs in red. So 5-2, Ivarsson Sanford.
Here's something they probably not used to, a new ball during a
15
set.
love.
I mean, you get the umpire, you get the new ball. All the funds of,
15 all.
playing in the national final.
Couple of faults from Ivarsson.
15-30.
Broderick Palmer out to a 3-love lead. They were ahead in the second set, too. Doya came back.
Seems like being ahead in a match is not what you want during a set.
Yeah, I think I'll still take it. Good dig from Cobbs there. Yeah, that's not where you want to hit your drives.
Not because of how good Cobb's sitting that backhand there, but also you just totally change directions. And then your partner can't help you if you do happen to get the, good move by Sanford to get moving up that screen early.
Yeah,
recognizing.
Punishes that down-up
30
overhead.
all.
There's a good forehand from Goldberg.
Yes.
Oh, what an athletic play from Cobbs. I thought he was in trouble, and he ended up coming out on top.
Say, normally you don't, want your partner to jump in front, hit a swinging forehand low volley, but
another one.
But Cobbs has done it for years, and he's got it down. Yeah.
Show some of his
Sanford
flashing
leads
his speed there.
5-3, first set.
They're back to 5-3 and really starting to right the ship.
Good volley there. I like the stepping in, hitting a good ball, and good volley, keeping the point going.
But too much changing the direction of the overheads. To me, you want to go middle of the court, and then one side wire. This sequence is better.
Yes.
Ivarsson misses the lob.
But that was right. By squeezing the middle, even when Ivarsson and Sanford drive, Goldberg and Cobbs have a much easier positioning to try to volley from than, going wide.
Oh, Ivarsson was looking for that one, but got beat.
30 love.
Great return from Ivarsson.
Like the move.
Yeah, great read from Goldberg.
But I liked it. The whole thing is he saw him going down. He just moved in right away. He didn't wait. What's the worst scenario? He hits it over your head. Cobbs is fast enough to go get it. Put a little pressure on him. I like that. Get him into it.
Oh, big cut from Sanford. Catches the top of the tape.
Ivarsson Sanford lead 5 games.
Back to 5-4.
First set.
It's an entertaining match, Maddie.
No, it is. I think if you could, the nerves in the beginning, Cobbs and Goldberg couldn't win that big point to say, in the beginning of the match. Got one, got two, as you said, put a little pressure. And it wasn't like they were missing a ton. They were just missing on the big points. And then I think Sanford and Ivarsson did, gifted one game, and especially in a tournament, in a one game sometimes can be the difference.
2 points can be the difference.
We've seen a lot of matches where if people left thinking okay, and then you find out later the results were totally different, and that's what's great about this sport. Every point does matter.
Goldberg definitely appears to have settled down a little bit. Cobbs played well early. Ivarsson and Cobbs missed that one, Matt.
15
Great
love.
eye.
Fortunately for Andre, only Miguel hit the ball, and that ball was long. Wow, look at that ball. Oh, great transition shot. And that's a great example of Goldberg should stay back, allow Cobbs to
30
take
love.
control of the net, then follow him in, because it's all or nothing when you have two people coming forward. Obviously, there's no one back there to handle a through ball.
And it's easy to, one of the things that I like the way Sanford, when he hits that serve, is he knows these guys super well, and he knows that if Cobbs is winding up, that there's a good chance he's not going to make it inside the service line. So just wait for it. If Cobbs, hits it, he can then, play it off the back screen and make Goldberg Cobbs hit the first volley, which is the hardest shot in the game.
I really like the early movement from Sanford, the way he's sliding to his left. Take that ball early and steal time from his opponents.
30-15.
Sanford is just staying back against that huge Cobbs return.
And they did a better job, but they didn't rush. They waited another opportunity. I think Goldberg learned his lesson, and what you can say, if you can like the move, just get the hands up, but
30 all.
obviously it's a very, very, very big point right here.
Great lob from Cobbs. Ivarson's really aggressive at the net. And there's an example of a drive that just doesn't have any purpose. Sanford's on top of the net. You got to push him back.
Good communication there and the help.
Goldberg. Great blitz from Cobbs.
Gets it.
And then beats him with the hard roller, and they've got a point for 5-all. 5-1 to 5-all potentially. Boy, Cobbs is just on fire right now. Well, it's just not a good overhead from Goldberg. He was under no pressure at all.
No, and top of it is sometimes the court positioning out of this Goldberg Cobbs team is when one's in the overhead, they're not really helping each other.
Oh, Cobbs, great blitz right on his paddle. And misses it.
Deuce.
Barisher Doya, another great slash winner, and they're back to 3-1. Broderick Palmer, final set. Okay, 2 points from the set. Oh, great
Great
backhand from Cobbs. Well, you've got to be careful with those waterfall overheads to Ricky Sanford. He likes sliding over there, hitting that one.
But that was the thing. I know Cobbs had a shorter one, but by switching, he got away with Ivarsson hits one decent lob, and the other team, they go from being in control to having the other team up.
Great rip there from Sanford.
And that
Takes
was
them to set
that
point.
Advantage, Ivarsson, Sanford.
Another great point from Cobbs. Sanford gets
Dude.
beat coming in when he should have been staying back. Do you think you see that more at the league level, Matty, where teams are eager to get to the net?
It did. I can say, Mark, that playing with you. Oh,
What a clever
what
shot
a
from
great
Cobbs.
shot.
Advantage, Cobbs,
I think
Goldberg.
you're going to see more league level one up, one back, especially these guys are returning so well. And if you can't get past the first volley, it's pointless to get to the net. And, it's not a big deal to give the net up. And I think especially when you first start playing, everyone's like the net, the net, the net. But we called that match yesterday where a team at the net was 80%. Doesn't mean you automatically win.
Great cover there for Cobbs. Goldberg was a little out of position. But again, the lobs are so short. There's a decent one from Cobbs. Great backhand there from Cobbs.
Now that they take the net, I like to see them be patient. Just no down ups.
And there it
There it
is,
is.
5-all. Great comeback for Cobbs Goldberg.
Games are 5-all, first set.
And it's really been led by Cobbs.
Uh,
He's playing brilliantly, Matty.
Yeah, he can feel it, and they said he's got the confidence this year. And when you have confidence with his skill, it can take you in places that a lot of people can't go to.
Well, he's got all the talent in the world.
For instance, just about a year ago, Cobbs would have tried to come back in after that overhead. This time he stays back. He let them come take it in. Then he just, they worked their way back in the middle of this point. But I also think you're right. I mean, David Goldberg definitely looks a lot calmer now than he did, 40 minutes, half hour ago. And that helps a lot, because when you get a couple points and games under you, you can relax. I've heard great things about him, and he's a good, solid player. And it makes it a lot more fun when you have two on your side and not 1 on 3.
The Cobbs is really volleying well. I would describe that area as the weakest of his game, but he just hasn't missed anything. Short lob burns them there, though.
Love 15.
Especially for the high-end tennis players that can really bring it. It's the hardest part of the game in the volley a lot of times is recognition that it's not an offensive shot 90% of the time, unless you're Jared. And because of that, it takes time for these, really talented tennis players to learn that. And once they learn it, it does slow the game down and makes it a lot more fun.
Boy, Ivarson's court positioning is putting a lot of pressure on him, playing in tight,
Love
stealing
30.
time. A couple of great drives there, and the forehand is too much for Goldberg to handle. Yeah. Cobbs tied him up a little bit with the hard overhead.
15, 30.
That's a great pair of volleys
Oh.
from Goldberg. Oh,
Oh,
but I think part of that's attributable to
15,
where
40.
Ivarsson was standing.
definitely.
Missed
He's
backhand
sitting
from
there.
Ivarsson. And now they're the ones kind of
30,
missing the
40.
opportunities a little bit.
I mean, that's the one thing that I've noticed so far is you haven't seen me. I mean, you're not seeing a lot of blitzing off the returns or anything. You're just kind of they're blitzing during the points, but like I think except for on the Cobbs serve is what's not as easy because of all the spin. I think the other ones you're looking a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of a forehand
Game,
Goldberg
Ivarsson,
thought he should hit,
Sanford,
but
they
wasn't
lead
really
6
committed to
games
hitting.
5, first set.
Okay, 4-1 Broderick Palmer. That Broderick backhand has just been brilliant all weekend.
You said, official that, I have the pleasure to talk to you about, you talk a lot about these guys in, talking about coming into the Nationals and watching these guys. And if we said, sometimes do you think in other tournaments, do they bait people? Do they not show them everything? You want to have your highest confidence when you're there, but these guys, sometimes they can play. And as you said, it was Drew Broderick, when he can play close to that baseline. And I think if you watch how Ivarson's playing a little bit, and when at the backcourt he's playing in, it does put more pressure on the overheads.
Okay, so Ivarsson, Sanford will serve for the set for the third time. It's rare you get 3 opportunities to serve for a set. Great overhead there from Ivarsson, beats Goldberg.
15 love.
That's a great slide by Sanford, staying on the backhand volley. And the waterfall beats Goldberg. 2 points from the set.
30 love.
There's the solid forehand from Goldberg.
Committed to that one, which is what you hopefully can just keep doing.
Yeah, was in by a lot.
It's gone.
Ball was out, confirmed by
30-15.
chair umpire Bliss. 30-15.
Half an inch.
Oh, that was Cobb's ball.
40-15.
He looked a little indecisive. Should I try to go behind? Should I? And then just, normally he's great at just hitting it.
Oh, great shot.
Game and first set.
There it is.
Ivarsson,
First set
Sanford,
is over.
7 games to 5.
Okay, BTIG is a global financial services firm specializing in institutional trading, investment banking, research, and related brokerage services. With an extensive global footprint and more than 600 employees, BTIG operates out of 18 cities throughout the U.S., Europe, Asia, and Australia. BTIG offers execution, expertise, and insights for equities, equity derivatives, ETFs, fixed income, currency, and commodities. The firm's core capabilities include global execution, portfolio, electronic and outsourced trading, transition management, investment banking, prime brokerage, capital, corporate access, research, and strategy, commission management, and more. And Maddie, I understand that at 2 o'clock you're going to be giving a seminar. on these type of services?
Definitely.
Okay, so Maddie, what do you think of the first set? What do you think these guys have to do to turn it around?
I like I'm watching here. They're doing some strategy, which is wonderful. They said, I know the Cobbs Goldberg team have, this is their first tournament together, which is even more impressive that they made it this far. But it is let's figure it out. Let's not, just go out swinging. In the beginning, they just couldn't win the big points, and hopefully they can, start off, in a good stop. For Ivarsson and Sanford, they started off, and I don't think they did special. They allowed their opponents to hit, a bad shot here, a missed shot there, and they got to stay solid early. They got to,
15 love.
Look for the opportunity and play aggressive when they can.
Exactly, not that as
Yes.
Ivarsson misses a lob. Got to say kudos to Tiernan Cavana and the entire national staff. The whole committee did an amazing job, with the exception of Anton Mavrin, who didn't do much. But everybody else was tremendous. And Waldron, Kelly McCoy, just unbelievable. Everybody was tremendous, and it's the reason we've been able to put on such a great show here at Darien Country Club. And also Carl Levinot, who spent so much time putting everything together and really came up with this blueprint 2016,
30,
which
15.
we simply kind of improved on and enlarged, really deserves an enormous amount of credit.
No, they've done a tremendous job, and the members here at the club have been great. Talking to some, they're so excited, not just because they have their own staff playing great and everything. It's because they really embrace this, and it makes it even more special.
You always want to get off to a good start after you've lost a set, which is imperative to really get back into it. A good move by Cobbs.
Great, positioning there, though. When Sanford's hitting that overhead, Ivarson's really, moving into the net. Which, a great lob by Cobbs here, but Cobbs loves driving that ball, and you got to take it away.
Borussia Doya back to 3-4 in the third. They were down 4-1, down 4-2 in the second, came back to win. That is a battle.
I think they were up 5-1 in the first.
5-1 in the first.
There's no lead in that match that's too safe.
No lead is ever safe in a paddle court, unless you're ahead. Then it's very safe, Matty. You're a brilliant closer.
Nah.
40, 30.
Okay, we'll move on from that subject.
I don't remember the last time it was ahead. That's the problem.
Okay, we're going to bring in Amin Kadari in just a moment. Talk a little bit about PTI. Amin, welcome to the booth.
Thanks for having me here.
So, Amin, PTI is really your brainchild, and I think it's been just a tremendous success this weekend. Tell me some of your observations. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks. very excited for this tournament this weekend. It's just been a great experience. I got to play in the PTI Open, as well as now watching a lot of it. It was just so much fun yesterday watching the 2 semifinal matches, which they put over at here at Country Club of Darien. There were probably 100 people
Goldberg.
watching those 2 semifinal matches. Just a lot of
They
excitement.
lead 1 game to love, second set.
Yeah, the Fairfield County is new to the PTI platform, so some of the ratings, don't have as much history behind them as some of the other leagues do. But a tournament like this is going to sort a lot of that out pretty quickly. And it's just been a lot of excitement around it.
So walk us through the process. You're going to have a whole bunch of results, obviously, from this tournament. They go into the database. The algorithm spits out new PTIs.
That's right. So we'll probably do the import either tonight or tomorrow night. And then the following day, everyone's PTIs will have adjusted. And so for the guys on the court here, this will be their 6th match of the tournament. All of these matches count 150% of a league match or a backdraw match because they're in the main draw. And so you'll see some pretty big moves, particularly for these two teams, given the wins that they've had along the way.
Brilliant drop shot there from Sanford. And how many results do you need to have a level of confidence in the
15
PTI?
love.
I would say 15 to 20 gets you to a pretty confident level. So you need at least a full season of league, or if you've played a lot of tournaments, you'll get to a pretty accurate place. So we're there for a lot of leagues. A couple of the leagues that have just come on mid-year are still a little new and still need another season to fully bake.
And how do you feel the PTI has been reflected in the results of the tournament so far?
I would say, again, the one thing we probably noticed was that, because the Fairfield County is just pretty new, those were a little off. So, Ricky and Andre out here came in at 8s. Just watching them play, I would say they're closer to low single digits, and you'll probably see that happen with the results from these tournaments. But overall, pretty good. I know from the 4 matches I played, my partner and I, Justin Sussman, we won the 2 matches we were supposed to win, and we lost the 2 matches we were supposed to lose, unfortunately. But it's just been great, and we got to play Jerry Albrechts in the first round, former national champion, who actually asked to be in this draw and not the main one, which was great. And
30-15.
Just talking to the guys on the court now before this match, they were nervous. They was like, if they had played in the main 64 draw, there was not going to be a lot of pressure in the back draw, and there probably almost nobody watching. But instead, they're coming out here, getting on the live stream, having you guys talk about their game, people in the stands watching them. I think that there was definitely some nerves, and I think they really enjoyed it. And that's really the purpose of this. In all of the PTI Nationals, there's 12 more coming in the next 3 weekends, men's and women's.
Walk me through the schedule of the PTIs.
Yeah, so next weekend, the PTI 10 plus in New Jersey for men, and the PTI 50 plus
15.
In Long Island for men. And then the following Tuesday, all 3 of the women's PTIs, the 30, 40, and 50 plus, are all in New Jersey.
Now, Matty was asking if he wanted to sign up for the 50 plus. How would he do that?
Well, you would obviously have to have a PTI of 50 or higher, you and your partner, and you just go on the APTA website and register. And
the 50 is for the team combined or each individual?
Individual. And 45 to 50 is about the average PTI for a league player across the country.
A great get from Cobbs. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. But what I was saying, that like this tournament here, the PTI Open, it's really been a missing tournament. These are players that would have a tough time making the round of 32 in the main draw of nationals, but they're also too good to be playing in what has traditionally been called the B Nationals, which is what we now think of really are 10 plus type players. So there's really been a gap where there's been no tournament for them to really play against players at their own level where they have a great shot of winning, and so this really fills that gap.
I've never done this before.
Broderick Palmer
That's
serving
right,
for the
use
match,
that one.
5-3, 30 love.
So.
Okay, switching balls here.
No, I think that it's a great way, as they said, the amount of players that there are in the country that won't go play tournaments. They won't go, they don't understand what a tournament is. I mean, they see it, they hear it, but they don't get the feel of what it's like to be at a lunch with, 60 to 100 other people that are playing the sport that they're with. They're used to playing their club match, once in a while, traveling as far as another club. But this gives them
Club 15.
a different purpose to play. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that makes people fall in love with the game of paddle is playing in a tournament. So the more tournaments we get for as many people of all skill levels, the more paddle that will be played across the country. So that's the purpose of all these PTI Nationals.
Double match point for Broderick Palmer over there. I mean, what leagues are in the country? How do you get your PTI if you're not an APTA member? Walk us through that whole process.
Right, so I would say almost all of men's leagues now, maybe
Club
with a
30.
couple of exceptions, are now on the PTI system. The women, more than half. And so if you're in a league that doesn't use the Paddle Scores website, the way to get a PTI rating is to play any APTA tournament that's on live scoring.
And there it is, Broderick Palmer through to the
40.
national finals, 6-3 in the third. I make that match out to be about little over 3 hours.
Wow.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you, Amin.
No. You were talking. You guys had the Paddle Hacks guys on earlier. I really think one of the best tournaments of the year that anybody in the country can participate in, and I think it's going to become the biggest tournament going forward and for years to come, is going to be Team Nationals. Because there are divisions
15,
up and down
40.
the PTI chain for guys, as good as the players on the court here to the everyday league player. Chicago has so many teams that they can field that they can pretty much fill out a division at every level for men and women. And so, get 6 of your buddies.
30, 40.
It's teams of 6, 3 lines per match. To take a road trip out to Chicago, play some great paddle, experience some of the greatest huts that we have. And they really do a great job out there. And I think that's going to be a really fun tournament for people.
And how is PTI going to factor into Team Nationals?
Right, so the divisions are being set by PTI. So all 6 players on your team have to be within basically a 10-point range. They'll make a couple of exceptions, but that will guarantee that the division that you're in, you're playing against
Game,
teams from other
Ivarsson,
parts of the
Sanford.
country that are all within your PTI range. So you're going to get
They lead
great
2
competitive
games to
matches
1, second
against
set.
people from all over
Ivarsson, Sanford won the first
because
set,
of that
7
division
games
structure.
to 5.
So what are the levels going to be?
Right. So I think the top division for men, I think it's 6 to 15. So these guys after this tournament might just have played themselves out of that bracket range, but 6 to 15 would be the best. And I think the highest for men are probably like in the 45 to 55 range. And for women, I believe the top division is mid-20s to low 30s, and then the top will be in the 55 to 65 range.
Now, one of the things that's really attracted me about PTI, and there are a number of them, but that it's gender neutral.
Yes.
Do you envision at some point having tournaments that have both men and women in them together?
So we actually have tournaments like that in Boston. Our PTI tournaments, we have 5 PTI tournaments in Boston, 10, 20, 25, 35, and 45 plus tournaments, and women play in those tournaments. So, and
how's that work out?
It's worked out. It's worked out great.
Do you think that's something the APTA will embrace in the coming years?
That's definitely something the board should discuss because with that kind of a rating system that really gives you a good sense of who should be on the court together, I don't see why we wouldn't.
Okay, fantastic. Amin, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the PTI education, and keep up the great work. I think you are the best CEO the APTA's ever had.
The only
Club
CEO
30.
we've ever had. Thank you.
We don't have to talk about that. I just don't want to say best.
I feel like you're commentating my play right now. I just want to say thank you guys, to ENET and to our commentators. You guys have done a phenomenal job.
15,
I've been tracking
30.
the numbers, which have been setting records for us. So thank you both to ENET and to you guys. You spent a lot of time in the booth,
15,
and
40.
we really appreciate everything you're doing. And I know that the thousands of people we have now listening also appreciate it. So thank you guys.
No, it's our pleasure, and working with a top flight producer like Kelly Diesel, who's clearly the #1 producer for ENET, just makes my job so easy.
And the whole goal is to make your job easy, Fish.
It certainly
because
should
you know
be.
what happens when it doesn't.
Okay, this thing's getting away a little bit. This big game for Cobbs Goldberg to close this out. Oh, great backhand. You think that Ivarsson Sanford know that Miguel Cobbs has got a terrific two-handed backhand?
One of the big things is if you some of these guys, as you said, that they've played in tournaments, they play in tournaments, and it's learning hey, let's not try to win too quickly and
Nope, over the fence.
They go out.
Well, I think the first thing you have to do when you walk on the court in a competitive situation
30, 40.
is recognize where your opponents can hurt you
Yes.
and avoid that spot.
No, it's a definite. It's it's funny talking to most of the players. They know what's going into a match. Their main strategy. Oh, so and so will hurt me. This or that. So and so doesn't like long points. But during the match, if it's not working, you got to change it up a little bit. In a down up overheads are it's almost like the bread and butter of the club level. A player who is you can win points with down up overheads, and then if you play the better players, they're looking for those, and it takes a while to learn not to hit those overheads.
This is a really important game, Matty. Yeah, I think it's getting away from Cobbs and Goldberg. They had 15-40.
But this point's been an amazing point here. As I've been watching it kind of in silence, listening to these guys, watching it, going, it's amazing that, some of these guys, the shots they picked up, there it is.
Great blitz from Cobbs.
You're talking about getting away with things. And,
Cobbs, Goldberg.
But clearly lack of recognition from Ivarsson Sanford that Cobbs got a great two-hander shot. I mean, if I were them, I'd be dumping every tough overhead. I'd be dumping to Goldberg.
Yes.
Because he's done no damage at all.
No, and the other thing about it is, when Ivarsson has been hitting the Goldberg, Sanford's been jumping the net, so it's taken away the Goldberg drive on top of it. If I was in the Goldberg shoes, I'd, look to drive the forehand, hit a couple lobs down the line. That's going to set up my partner, who is, as we said, Cobbs is really bringing it.
Great get there from Ivarsson.
That's just a mental error right there for Cobbs.
Advantage, Ivarsson, Sanford.
Big fault there from Ivarsson, and that's some of the pressure that Cobbs is bringing to bear with his return of serve. Yeah, Goldberg just not confident with that forehand.
Advantage, Ivarsson, Sanford.
Even that one was kind of a steer, rather than a swing.
He had him off the net. He did everything right. He's just, got to hit through it. Doesn't look like he has that much of a roll.
Yep, Sanford
Game,
catches
Ivarsson,
the nick,
Sanford,
and it's
they lead
3-1.
3-1, second set.
Boy, it really hurt letting that one get away. Big return from Ivarsson, but Cobbs beats him in transition.
That's something that, as we said, we got to see Cobbs over the years learn, as if somebody's taking his serve off the deck, he'll stay back and he'll learn to, let them come in, and he's got a great drive going.
I love how short in the court Ivarsson plays. Really puts a lot of pressure on his opponents that way. Yeah, that forehand's a little bit loopy.
As you said, he likes that high backhand. I mean, he's only seen a couple besides the serve, and he's hitting that. But you're right, that forehand, he gets a little wristy up there. Flattening, less wrist on the high forehand.
Great return, catching that Cobbs serve early. That's impressive. Great recovery from Cobbs. I thought he was dead there. Just got to get those lobs deeper. Too many overheads being hit inside the service box. And there's a good example. I mean, that shot from Cobbs would have been a nice shot had they driven him out of the box with a deep lob, but Ivarsson's on top of the net.
Nice little roller inside out. And I think a lot of times when people hit those rollers, especially when you're first starting, they aim for the side screen, but that just kicks out. You don't have to hit the nick, but if you can get the back screen, it'll roll up, the a la, a couple years ago watching Jerry, get on the court with Vicky as she showed everyone how to hit it perfectly.
30 all.
Great transition there from Ivarsson. I thought that ball was hit way too hard to come in, but he beats Cobbs in transition. And it's a dangerous moment right here for Cobbs and Goldberg. Well, it's really athletic play from Ivarsson.
But that's I like the move, go up the line, but it seems like,
The Cobbs got a little bit away from home base and got
30,
burned.
40.
And it's a point for 4-1.
But did you notice when Ivarsson, even though he had a bad overhead, Sanford helped him by moving in a position before he finished his swing, and as Goldberg hit that forehand, but he was right on the net. And really, unless you can unleash anybody on the net, they're not going to miss that volley.
Ooh. Big point to miss a lob long. And I know when you teach, Matty, you always talk about you don't want to lob over their heads. You want to lob to push them off the net.
So
that's hard for tennis players.
One of the biggest things I learned early in my career was from Mary Doughton, who's obviously a phenomenal player, but she was grading lobs, A, B, C, D, and F, and it's funny because everybody that thinks the lob that barely makes over the net is you don't want it, but it's not that bad. Just go home. But everyone thinks you need to get it over their head, especially tennis players, and they don't realize if you can get them a foot past the service line, it's actually the best lob you want. There's the down. Oh, Sanford's moved out on a down up. He just didn't finish it.
Sanford lead.
Yeah, he was in position and just missed it.
Second set. Ivarsson Sanford won the first set 7-5.
It's fun to see, the amount of people here to watch this final. It's, it is. There's people all over. There's people talking about it. It is, as you said, yourself, your staff, obviously Carl and his staff, and the CCD, the Country Club of Darien, has done a great job of just inviting everyone out here, and it's been an electric weekend so far.
Yeah, it's really been terrific, and we expect some huge crowds for the two finals starting at 1 and then at 3. I'm rooting for the clouds to kind of stay in place so we don't have too much sun for the second half of the women's final and obviously the men's final. Okay, that was a big game for Cobbs Goldberg to find their way out of. Ivarsson Sanford still up 3-2. There's a
There
good
it is.
forehand
There's
from
a
Goldberg.
much more precise, step in.
That's great action.
Yeah.
That is not a good decision from Miguel Cobbs.
15 love.
Another little bit of a blurt from Cobbs. That ball was a little bit far
30
behind
love.
him to drive.
Sometimes, you win that game, and the next game you want to feel like you just need to get going faster and faster, and that's the difference between the top players that play these tournaments and stuff. Is they know how to put the pressure on, but sometimes they put the pressure on by
40
telling
love.
you, hey, we're not missing this game until you give me the perfect opportunity.
3 straight errors from Cobbs there. Takes us to 40 love.
Game,
Love those
Ivarsson,
That was
Sanford.
4-point games when you come out on top.
We lead 4 games to 2,
That could've
second
been
set.
that was a nice little, you just lost a tough game. The only thing you don't, feel like, oh, what I need to do, and next thing you know, you got a gift.
Sanford just a little late with that move left. I think it was the
15
right
love.
play. Just
Yeah.
late on the recognition.
One of the differences in this match I've noticed too is not just the execution, but the where Goldberg and Cobbs are, they haven't played as much or something, but they're not in the greatest positioning at the net compared to when Ivarsson and Sanford. So there's been times where if they've hit a bad overhead, the other person can't really help. Where every time it seems like, except for when Cobbs is on basically jumping the service line with that backhand, Ivarsson and Sanford have been really good about helping each other out.
Ivarsson misses that
30
lob
love.
long. Good read from Goldberg. A great play.
blitz.
Cobbs has the answer. Oh,
Oh,
brilliant play again from Cobbs.
40
I like,
love.
even though Ivarsson didn't win the point, he made a great play. I mean, Cobbs' hands were terrific there, but that's what they got to do when you get them off the net. You got to take those advantages.
Good lob volley and retreat, but Cobbs didn't get the second part of the message.
40-15.
That was definitely not a brilliant play from Miguel
No,
Cobbs.
that's kind of like my favorite drill, Mark. You know my favorite drill I love to teach, the lob short.
And blitz.
Lob short blitz.
40-30.
Again, it's not something you do often, and then when you do it, it's not normally a good result.
Well, another
This
40
is
love game
mental.
that they're potentially letting
Deuce.
get away. Oh, great rip, great volley. Oh, Cobbs with the flying will end a drop shot.
He
Had-
is
had
graceful.
a head fake, too.
He is graceful.
Well, got to be careful with that overhead against Ivarsson.
I like it.
That ball was flying. Great get.
But I like the way Cobbs, not only hit that shot, but he moved in knowing that if Ivarsson got it, he couldn't do anything with it. a lot of times when you got people on the run, they kind of wait and see what they're going to do.
Yeah, clever little backhand
Advantage,
roller.
Cobbs, Goldberg.
Another opportunity to close the game out. Oh, great rip there from Ivarsson. Back to deuce.
I like that even though Ivarsson admitted great shot, at least, Goldberg's going in. And that's where you see the difference between, I think some of the top guys in the world, the gentlemen in the world right now, they're taking that overhead and they're just either they're
Advantage,
shoving
Ivarsson,
it soft and
Sanford.
getting out of there, or they'll let it bounce. And sometimes you can get away with things and it gets you in trouble later. But that's a good move by Ivarsson.
But he doesn't put it away. But he does there. And they're up 5-2.
Game, Ivarsson, Sanford.
And in control.
They lead 5-2, second set. Ivarsson, Sanford won the first set, 7-5.
Cobbs, Goldberg have had so many chances, Matt. They just haven't closed out enough games.
I think there's been maybe 1 or 2 games that they've lost that they didn't have a game point. And, it is the mental part of okay, we're up. And then you feel like, what do I need to do to win that? Do I need to, try to hit a nick? Do I need to try to go around them instead of just, playing solid and then waiting for that opportunity?
Yeah, they've had several, I think 3 Love 40 games they let get away. 40 Love 40, including the last one. And Ivarsson will serve for the title. That's a great roller from Sanford. Hard at the body. Gonna slow Cobbs down.
One of the things, when you have somebody in those short overheads, so many times it's, people like, oh, don't hit them. No, you actually, not mean to be mean, but you do need to go at them, get them out of the way, make them move. But you have to have the depth like that Sanford had.
So it's 15 Love. Oh, great spot from Cobbs. Takes us to 15 all.
15 all.
There's a good forehand from Goldberg.
That's the overhead there that I just, you got him off the net and you hit it just a down up once, and let's see the opponents come back into being the aggressors.
30-15.
I should report that Araya Parsons managed to pull out 5th place. Big win this morning in the back draw over Compton Kaler. Rematch of last year's national semifinals. I'm sure those 2 teams are thrilled to be playing for 5th place. Now that roller got to the other side of Cobbs, left side as opposed to the right side, and he was able to follow the ball and have to wait for it to pass.
Right.
But he misses the backhand there, and that takes us to match point.
Championship point.
40-30.
A little bit of nerves from Ivarsson. That one was about halfway up the net.
It's actually going downward when it hits somehow.
Great close from Sanford. Ivarsson overcooks the volley, and it's break point.
Advantage Cobbs, Goldberg.
Well, Cobbs had a chance. Back to deuce.
That's the one though where if you watch, he come in and instead of let the ball go past you, it's hard not to reach. But they don't hit it where you want them to. It's just got to trust your partner.
And you're moving so quickly, closing, and the court is so small. Cobbs misses the spike, and that's one more match point.
Advantage.
And another fault from
on match
Ivarsson.
point.
Well, we saw it from Johan Durant, so I guess we can't be too surprised seeing the PTI.
Oh, and that's the first time Ricky really, Sanford really,
Advantage Cobbs, Goldberg.
left his post. If you know what I mean, he looked forehand volley to help instead of just staying that backhand volley.
Great lob from Cobbs. Switching in the backcourt to their customary sides.
But that's the overhead.
Yeah, I don't know what Cobbs was doing there. Why was he backing up?
Deuce.
Looked like they had control of the point.
That's the one overhead, though. I think Goldberg's got to make sure he's getting a little deeper. But then, serve long.
It was deep.
It was deep. Yeah. But that's the one that you said.
Advantage
Cobbs has got to
Cobbs,
either get
Goldberg.
back and just reset the point or get back in.
Yeah, one or the other.
Good lob. But that's the difference. You can see the depth of the overhead when Ivarsson and Sanford's overheads are definitely deeper than the Goldberg ones, and that's I think on the big points that's what's really getting them in trouble.
Well, that overhead was so bad it was almost good.
That's the one. Get ready. Just move your feet.
Yeah, you got a little stuck there.
Deuce.
Back to deuce. Good deep overheads.
But that's the thing where Goldberg is, he needs to if he's going to block, he needs to come closer to the baseline to block. When you're blocking from that far back, oh, good lob there. If you're blocking from that far back, it doesn't take away
Advantage
time, and it
Cobbs,
makes your lob
Goldberg.
shorter, and it allows
Negates
them to
the whole purpose of the
make it a
block
block.
lob.
Nice.
Good cover there from Sanford.
That's better, as we talked about earlier in this week, the overhead doesn't have to be, obviously not a winner, but it has to be one of those body shot. Make them play from down low. They have to, can't hurt you.
Well, Cobbs misses the volley. Back to deuce.
Deuce.
Great volley
Great
from
volley.
Ivarsson. Yeah, but good transition play from Cobbs. Finds his left
Advantage
hip and he
Cobbs,
misses the
Goldberg.
forehand volley. Another point for 5-3. What do you think, Matty? This going 3?
The big question is going to be how long is this game going to go? I mean, it's already been about, a good 5-minute game, maybe more. And it's I like to move forward. Oh,
Boy, Goldberg looked like you had him in all sorts of trouble.
Deuce.
that's the difference in when you getting blitzed and blitzed. You got to go back to the old tennis mentality where you do need to move forward. You can't allow them to come forward and you backing up.
Oh, Ivarsson
match-
gets away with a risky
Advantage,
overhead
Iverson,
there, and it's
Sanford.
match point number 3.
First and foremost, over the net, and we'll go from there.
And in the box helps.
Huh? We start with over, then we'll go in.
And there it is.
There it
Game,
is.
set,
Game, set,
match.
match.
Ivarsson,
Ivarsson,
Sanford, and
Sanford.
our first ever PTI national
National
champion will be
2020
crowned.
PTI national champs.
Okay, we're going to
They
be
win.
back in a moment with the trophy presentation after these messages right here on the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live.
I play to be a role model in my neighborhood.
I play to be part of the team.
I play to be stronger than my brothers.
I play to channel my energy in a positive way.
I play because the field is where I shine. I play to be a part of something bigger than myself.
I play to stay healthy. I play to feel powerful.
I play to win.
When people think of Roto-Rooter, they typically just think plumbing and water cleanup. And they wouldn't be wrong, but we do a whole lot more. Roto-Rooter. Yeah, we do that too.
The world of Rolex is filled with stories of perpetual excellence. For Rolex and tennis, the tradition began in 1978 and has grown to include the most iconic majors and tournaments since, supporting the legends, champions, and rising stars committed to the future of the game. This is a story of perpetual excellence, the story of Rolex.
It's a 60-year love affair, as passionate as the day it began. It's where the dream and the reality are one and the same. It's safety in its most exhilarating form. It is the 2020 E-Class, the quintessential Mercedes-Benz, made new all over again. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Welcome to the first ever 2020 Nationals PTI Open National Championships. The APTA, we're really proud to present 13 national championships in the next month. And today was the first ever and obviously the highest level, as you can see from the match play. I just want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, our national sponsors, Viking, Uline, Fusion, Upswing Health, and Clark Trophies. We also have some great and very generous local sponsors that I'd like to thank. BTIG, Performance Physical Therapy, Remedy Plus, Pure Insurance, Rand Insurance, Yashmin Lloyds from Compass, HSS, Josh Sellers, Moffley Media, Danos, and Keel Vodka. I want to thank Mark Bliss, the umpire. Thank you very much, as well as the 2020 National Committee. And with that, I'd like to call up our finalists, Miguel Cobbs and David Goldberg.
Sorry, I'm all sweaty. Thank you.
So Miguel, you guys kind of fell down early, 5-1. Were you guys a little nervous to start?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we had game points. I kept saying to David, we had game points every single game. I think 2 games we were 40 love up and we dropped. And it's kind of been our story along the road. And this was the first time we played together, so it was definitely a great journey.
David, first time ever playing with Miguel. Quite an experience, huh?
Yeah, it was a great experience. It doesn't matter. I could dump 100 balls in the net, and he just tells me to keep going for my shots. He's very encouraging, and he plays great. So it was very, very easy and fun to play with him.
Yeah, probably because I was going to dump the next 100. So.
Well, having played with you, Miguel, I can attest to that, the accuracy of that statement. Any thank yous from you guys?
You know, I'd like to thank my wife, for coming down and supporting me, my kids. Brad Easterbrook has really helped me so much to get to this level. So I really owe him a special thanks. And thanks to David for being such a great partner throughout this. And thanks to everybody who put this together. This was an amazing, amazing experience.
Yeah, thank you to all the tournament directors and everybody. This is a really great and big event. So I appreciate everybody that puts it together. Thank you, Miguel. And also thank you to all the people that are watching us. I've never played in front of this many people before, so I was a little nervous at first, but it was really a lot of fun. And even yesterday in the semis, I think there was 200 people rooting for the other team, but nevertheless, it was really a lot of fun. So thank you, everybody that comes out and watches us play. It's really a lot of fun for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, congrats, guys, on a great week, and thank you very much for participating, and really been awesome. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn it back over to Tiernan Cavana.
All right, and now for the first ever 2020 PTI National Champions, Andre Ivarsson and Ricky Sanford.
Okay, guys, congratulations, the inaugural PTI National Champions. That's pretty cool.
It is indeed. So if you guys never want to do this again, I'm okay with it because I can't quit my career at this point. So,
you know, I said on the air that the first winner of the B Nationals was Steve DeRose. So you guys have some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I guess we get a main draw bid next year so we can go and play.
You guys will be in Boston next year for the main draw. Now you guys got off to a fast start, 5-1. A lot of tight games, and all of a sudden things started to turn the other way, and there was a really tight game at 5-all, and you guys kind of hung in there. What was your strategy today?
Just stay solid. Wait for the right ball. I mean, I can do that with him because Ricky's never, ever missing a ball. So I can just wait for the right one to do something with. I don't think our strategy ever changed at any point. Just they started playing better, and they started winning the big points, and we hung in there when we needed to. That was huge.
And Ricky, your roller was really effective, especially against Miguel. Is that a shot you normally like to hit?
Every once in a while, yeah. The roller, and I kind of waterfalled him a few times, which was a little helpful. Just trying to set him up for more volleys, and it all worked out when it needed to. It was fun.
Okay, anybody you guys want to thank before we close it out?
There's a lot of people to thank, but first of all, thank you to my girlfriend, Tamara Espinosa, who I think managed to watch like 5 minutes of the entire tournament, so I think that might have something to do with it. Nice to know that when I watch all of her matches, she watches none of mine, but makes sense. First, Tournament, phenomenal. This was unbelievable. Thank you for so many people coming watching this. There's a good chance I will never bet to be on a live stream ever again, so this was fantastic. So thank you so much for everybody, and of course my partner, who is just the best guy in the world. Thank you.
Ricky?
My partner Andre, my wife Veronica's here, my parents are here, the APTA, everybody. It was so much fun. Everything was well run and well organized, and it was a blast. So thank you guys.
Okay, well, awesome. Congratulations on being the inaugural champions of the 2020 PTI Nationals. I'm now going to in the spot in the Boston Open draw. Okay, I'm turning it over to Carl Levenot.
Okay, I want to just thank everybody who was here early on watching the PTI finals. It was phenomenal paddle. Hopefully you guys will hang around for the rest of the afternoon. We've got the women's finals starting probably in about 5 to 10 minutes. So get yourself some stuff out of the food trucks, get yourself a drink. It's going to be a great show. Okay, see you in a few. Thanks, Carl.